Harness racing at the fairs. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's for the entire family. And for the next several weeks, we're going to take you to some of the top fairs in the state of Michigan to show you how families and fans are having such a great time following the horses on Michigan Hoof Beats. Michigan Hoof Beats, highlighting the best of harness racing at the fairs. Michigan Hoof Beats, brought to you by the Michigan Harness Horsemen's Association, the Michigan Standardbred Breeders Association, Hazel Park Raceway, and the Cole Hair Clinic. Today we're on the banks of Lake Michigan in the western part of the state. There's a look at Big Red as it guards the entranceway to Holland. We're at the Ottawa County Fair. Hi everybody, I'm Marty Adler. Nice to have you joining us on this, the 5th week of harness racing action at the fairs in the state of Michigan. And on today's show, we are going to highlight the Wolverine Futurity. This is the 57th anniversary of the Wolverine Futurity. Today, 3-year-old pacing colts front and center, and you'll get a chance to see them in racing action coming up very shortly. As a matter of fact, we can take a look at Field Officer right now. He's just getting out of his trailer. Carl Hipscher is the trainer. He's going to play a major role because this horse ran into problems just a week ago in Sire Stakes action. Now, the Holland Fair was named by the readers of Hoof Beats magazine as the 1997 Blue Ribbon Award winner. We had a chance to talk to the manager of the Holland Fair, Earl Welling, about what makes this fair just so special.
Well, we're awful proud here at the Ottawa County Fair because we offer such a family-oriented, and this is our 40th anniversary. And tonight and Wednesday night, we're having the Wolverine Futurity, the #1 harness race in the state of Michigan. We'll be going for $250,000 in purses, but more important, we just do an excellent job with the horsemen and treat them and do cookouts and do boat races and charter boats, and but the whole fair is oriented for the family, and we have great exhibits of the 4-H kids, and we just enjoy putting it on. It's the most talked about community affair in the last week of July.
And you can't bet on the horses, but if you can pick 10 winners, what's going to happen?
Well, we've done it before, and you have to pick the 6 elimination winners on Tuesday night. And then at that point, if you're correct, we'll call you to the stage, and what you do is you pick 1 race at a time. And if you pick all 10, you walk away with a 1998 Jimmy, a pickup truck, or $20,000 in cash. All part of the fun. It is just the excitement. I had the first person lined up when I got here at 7:30 to buy his race program this morning.
This Ottawa County Fair is really something special. Take a look at some of the horses in the backstretch. This is Raider Breaker and his trainer Thurman Baker. They're kind of brushing him down, getting him ready for racing action. Now, this town of Holland is a very special town in the western part of the state. Let's take a look and see some of the sights and sounds of Holland, Michigan. Welcome to the all-America city with a Dutch accent. Settled over 150 years ago, Holland has become one of Michigan's favorite destinations. As a 1997 Great American Main Street Award winner, downtown Holland has been nationally recognized for its innovative approach to revitalization. From the bustling specialty shops to sandy Lake Michigan beaches, Holland has fun for everyone. People in Holland don't really wear wooden shoes, but if you want to, you can. Visit Windmill Island and see how to dance in your wooden shoes. Check out their shops as you cross over the drawbridge. Over at Dutch Village, experience the highly prized street organs. Have fun searching for witches or catch a glimpse of the Klompen dancers. Known around the world for its annual Tulip Festival, Holland exemplifies that friendly Dutch culture all year round. The city of Holland is a wonderful place, and we have been experiencing it in its fullest. We thank the Tourist Bureau, too, for giving us some guidance here in the city. Now, the Wolverine Futurity today, as you're going to see it, is for 3-year-old pacing colts. These colts got here because their mothers were nominated the year the colts were foaled. And it is a pace. Now, in standardbred racing, there are trotters and there are pacers. Let's show you the difference. A trotter moves the right front leg forward when the back right leg is moving backward. The pacer, on the other hand, moves the right side, both the front and the back, forward while the left side, front and rear, are moving back. Today again, it's the Pacers. 3-year-old colts and geldings today. A gelding is a boy horse who's been neutered. Now the distance is 1 mile. 99% of all harness races go a distance of 1 mile. Here at the Holland Fair, the track is a half-mile round, and that means that the horses will start in front of the grandstand and go around 2 times, finishing up exactly where they started. The distance is 1 mile. On any race day at a Michigan Fair, as many as 22 races can be run off in just a few hours. But somebody has to put all these races together. So we take you to Okemos, 3 days before any race day. Meet Nancy Jewell. She's the one at the end of the phone accepting the calls from owners and trainers who want to enter their horses to race.
When someone calls to enter their horse, first thing we ask for is the name of the horse. We then read back the breeding to verify that we have the correct horse and also the age, sex, and gait. We ask where the horse is going to race, the name of the trainer, the name of the driver, and the horse is entered. The deck sheet is printed out, the horse is in the system, and the draw is done at 10 o'clock. The horses are in the database, and an entry takes approximately 5 to 7 seconds.
By the way, there's a rumor going around that Nancy is the leading candidate to be Michigan Horsemen's 1998 Calendar Girl. We're at the Ottawa County Fair in Holland, Michigan, and we'll be back with more on Michigan Hoof Beats right after this. The Michigan Stake and Futurity program is unique in the harness racing industry. A mix of country fair and parimutuel competition offers equal opportunities for trotters and pacers, fillies and colts. When a horse is born in Michigan and the sire stands in Michigan and a payment is made by July 15th of the year the foal is born, then that foal is eligible to big money events when the foal turns 2, 3, and 4. What makes it all fair is that 2-year-olds race against 2-year-olds, colts race only against other colts, fillies against fillies, trotters against trotters, and pacers against pacers. It's fair and it's profitable, and over $6 million is up for grabs on the Michigan Sire Stakes circuit every year. The Michigan Colt Stakes feature 4 levels of competition of different difficulty, purses, and starting fees. Horsemen classify their own horses, often changing from level to level throughout the summer. At 2 and 3, 2 $200 payments cover all 4 circuits and make colts eligible to all 13 weeks of the Michigan Colt Stakes. The levels and degrees of difficulty are Standard Bred Division, the most difficult, Blue Division, Gold Division, Green Division. If your horse cannot compete in the big purse Standard Bred Division, then you might want to drop down to the easier level Blue Division or down to the level that best suits your horse. Although the greatest number of Michigan Colts events are raced at the fairs, the richest, the earliest, the latest, and a few in between are held at the parimutuel tracks like Hazel Park, Jackson Raceway, and Saginaw Raceway. In early October, after the 13 weeks of Colt Stake racing, Hazel Park hosts a fall final for the top money winners in each of the divisions. There is no starting fee, and the purse for each division is $17,500. Divisional state champions are colts and fillies with the highest cumulative earnings from the spring eliminations and the finals, the 13 weeks of Colt Stakes, the summer futurities, and the fall finals. For more information on Michigan Colt Stake racing, check with our website at ambersystems.com, MHHA. We're back at the Ottawa County Fair in Holland, Michigan. I'm Marty Adler. The horses in today's final of the Wolverine Futurity all had to qualify in earlier races. They had to finish in the first 4 of 2 elimination heats. Now here's the post parade of the finalists for the Wolverine Futurity. Number 1 is Field Officer, owned by Alexander and Catherine Sellers of Edwardsburg, the driver Charles Taylor. 2 is Toy Soldier, owned by John Grozinski of Clarkson, Michigan. Brad Kramer is in the sulky. 3 is Starbrew, owned by Foxgate Farms and C. Young, along with Connie Boschma. Connie does the training. The driver will be Carl Putnam Jr. The number 4 horse is Joe Slick, owned by Jamison Turner of Sault Ste. Marie. The driver, Peter Rand. 5 is Turbo Rabbit, owned by Farreau and Wright from Commerce Township. The trainer is Clay Farreau and the driver, Mark Webster. Number 6 is Butch's Date, owned by Marshall and Lois Field of Rochester Hills, Michigan. Troy Boring is in the bike. 7 is Set for Life, owned by Ada Jean Ackerman. That's D.R. Ackerman in the sulky. And the 8 horse is Royal Navy. Royal Navy is owned by Walter Bird and Jack Cooper of South Lyon. Marty Cooper does the driving. The number 5 horse in this race is Turbo Rabbit. Now, just a few weeks ago, he had a big payday at Saginaw when he won the $106,000 3-year-old Sire Stakes Colt Division. In that race, the horses had reached the 3/4 in 1:27 flat, and Turbo Rabbit had been charging 3 wide all the way down the backstretch, comes around the final turn to take over the lead, and then through the stretch had to hold off a fast-charging Field Officer. Field Officer gets another shot at Turbo Rabbit this afternoon, but take a look at the winner's circle there in Saginaw. You got Clay Farrow Sr., the co-owner on this horse, along with Robert Wright as well. Now, the driver of Turbo Rabbit is Mark Webster. He'll be here to drive Turbo Rabbit this afternoon. But when you talk about drivers, the top drivers in the fair circuit, there is one name that always comes to the fore. After the first 4 weeks of fair racing, the winningest driver on the circuit is no surprise at all. It's Carl Putnam Jr. In fact, since 1987, he has led all drivers in taking home all the trophies and all the driving prizes. Carl lives in Byron, Michigan, on a spacious farm that even includes an indoor training track. But when looking for Carl, look no further than the nearest fair barn as he talks about what is so special about racing at the fairs.
It's fun, really, trying to teach them how to race, and the purses are good out here. The Futurities and Sire Stakes race for a lot of money. Been lucky to get a lot of nice horses to drive, and you know, I've done okay with them, and had some horses that were state champions. You know, a couple of years ago, I got hurt and I missed a couple weeks driving, and so I was looking back at all the horses I drove, and I counted up, I've been down on the ground 114 times.
So what happened at Lake Odessa?
A horse went down in front of me, well, 2 horses actually, and I thought I was going to miss them okay, but ended up I couldn't miss them, and threw me off on my shoulder, and I was lucky it wasn't any worse than it was, but it's still pretty sore. Our whole family really has been in the horse business, and we really raced a lot at the fairs because we break colts and get them going, you know, and really enjoy racing at the fairs.
Carl Putnam Jr. is a quiet-spoken young man who lets his driving skills do all the talking for him. Now, you know, the Michigan Harness Horsemen's Association was founded in 1947. It has been founded to take care of the needs of harness horsemen, drivers, trainers, and owners. We had a chance to catch up with the new president of the MHHA in the backstretch wearing driving colors, and we wondered whether or not this was appropriate attire for the president of such a distinguished organization.
I'm very much a hands-on president. We train 10 to 15 horses in our stable. It's a family operation. We not only have a training stable, we also have a breeding operation. And it's very family-oriented, so I think it's very fitting.
What was the status of the racing in Michigan before you became president, and what do you hope to accomplish as the president?
What's really happened in the last 5 years with the racing in Michigan was the simulcast bill in 1995. When it passed 2 years before I became president, that was a very, very important part of Michigan harness racing. Not only harness racing, but thoroughbred racing as a whole in Michigan. Now we've got to go to that next step. I mean, we compete with a gambling dollar every day, and now we've got to figure out a way to generate money, more money for purses, not only for the parimutuel tracks, but yes, they're very, very important, but yet to still continue to race at the county fairs also. But that's a real, real big issue with it.
Well, Michigan Hoof Beats has decided to help out Byron, so we came to Lansing. The racing industry in Michigan is regulated by the Office of the Racing Commissioner, so we came here to try and find the governor and get his state of the industry address. But he was busy, we couldn't get in to see him. So we've come upon Jeffrey Feiger. Jeffrey.
Man on the street interview, huh? You just happened to stumble upon me as I was aimlessly walking the street of Lansing.
Aimlessly. Were you aimlessly thinking about the sport of racing in Michigan? What do you know about it? And tell me, what do you think about its survival now, the proliferation of casinos?
Well, first of all, I never aimlessly do anything, and I know a little bit about it. I've been constantly contacted by members of the industry. I know there's 42,000 members. I know that we don't presently have a state racing commissioner. I know the state has cut subsidies to the sport through the Department of Agriculture. I know the tracks are being pulled out of the state of Michigan, especially in the Detroit area. Personally, I have a great love of the sport, the beauty of the sport. I think that there's no reason why in a state where we put the kind of subsidies and the kind of money that we do for sports palaces in the city of Detroit for billionaires so that they can charge us $200 a ticket to watch a baseball game and a hot dog, in a state that is now subsidizing not only the lottery but helping the other gaming interests, there is no reason why the state can't become more involved. We've got 42,000 citizens involved in that business. That's an important industry. It's a lot more than Mr. Illich hires and supports with the Detroit Tiger baseball team.
42,000 also translates into 42,000 potential votes. How do you see this sport surviving?
It's not just 42,000 potential votes. Then it's all the industries and all the businesses that connect with that sport. So I think it exponentiates out to far more than 42,000 votes. The state, the industry has to survive. First of all, you got to have good ownership. You've got to have progressive ownership that's willing to invest. The state has to work with in cooperation. I see no reason why, in light of the fact that we're going to have casinos in here, that we don't all come together and develop a gaming industry which includes horse racing, the lottery, and casinos, that we all work together, because that type of industry is going to help not only the city of Detroit. If people are going to be brought into the city of Detroit, for instance, for gambling, then there's no reason why they won't want to see the racetracks too. There's no reason why those things can't be developed together.
We're back at the Ottawa County Fair in Holland, Michigan, where you can see people having a pretty good time. Not only is this a people place, it's a family place. And those families will take in the rides, and they'll also take in the harness racing action at this fair. Now, the folks at the Holland County Fair take great pride in putting on a pretty good show. But that pride isn't just for Holland, it extends to all fairs. Doug, what is your job?
Here at the Lake Odessa Fair, we want to make the toilet experience as pleasant as possible.
Did you say toilet experience?
Yes, I did.
Well, Colin, can you tell me what is the experience that we're going to have here in the toilet at the Odessa Fair?
One that smells good and reeks of cleanliness.
It reeks of cleanliness.
Yes, it does.
And do you guys get paid for doing this, Doug?
Yes, we do.
All right, can you tell me?
We get paid $150 from the fair board, and we keep all our tips.
And how much do your tips amount to?
Usually around $800.
Okay, $800 for how long?
1 week.
Colin, what is Troop 300? Tell me a little bit about them.
It's our section of the Boy Scouts of America scouting program. And we do camping and do lots of fun stuff.
So if you clean a toilet well, you get, as a scout, you get brownie points.
I guess that would be right.
My two friends, Colin and Doug, a fine example of pride here at a fair. Now, coming up is the final of the Wolverine Futurity. We thought we'd talk to one of the owners of one of the major contenders, Toy Soldier. This is John Grzinski.
Well, he raced super right now. Brad gave him a great drive. He was in the two-hole the whole way, and I knew if he could get out, he could win. And we're just hoping for the same kind of drive and the same kind of racing luck in the final. Last year, near the end of the season, he seemed to be the best, coming on real strong. Early this spring, he had that surgery. Seems to be coming back into form. And if he does, I think he'll be the best this year.
He ended up with a trip, and how do you think he's going to do in the final?
Well, he's going to get the 1 or 2 hole, so he's going to be close right off the bat. I think he's a winner. I hope so. My wife has wanted wooden shoes for a long, long time.
We're just getting ready for the big race, and we want to get a word from an expert in harness racing, and who better than the executive director of the United States Trotting Association, who's joining us in Holland today, Fred Noy. Fred, what is a burning issue in harness racing in the state of Michigan would you suggest?
Well, as long as you talk about Michigan, I imagine it is slot machines, casinos, the talk of the town, what's going on in Detroit, will definitely have an effect on the various pari-mutuel tracks throughout Michigan. So I think that would be the issue here, and I'm sure if you talk to track operators, that's what they would say. And And I don't have all the answers, but I think slot machines at tracks probably are a necessity for most tracks to make a go of it.
Okay, now, can you pick who's going to win the Wolverine Futurity for 3-year-old pacing colts? Who do you like?
No problem at all. I see Mark Webster as a driver on Turbo Rabbit. That's my pick.
Turbo Rabbit.
After last week in Saginaw, I think it ought to be the winning horse tonight.
As you can see, the horses are now in the hands of the starter. They're moving off the turn. They're into the stretch. And let's turn it over to track announcer here at the Ottawa County Fair, Brett Boyd, for the call.
And here they come. They're off and pacing a cavalry charge off that gate. And in the center of the track, Star Brew charges out for the lead. Toy Soldier fired out on the inside in second. Star Brew goes off stride into the turn. And now taking over that lead, it's Toy Soldier. On the inside, Field Officer is second. Star Brew sets back on the pace in third. Royal Navy is fourth. Here comes Joe Slick with a tap of the whip. Peter Wren's got him in motion. Second over in fourth. Moving up on the outside, Turbo Rabbit is fifth, Set for Life, and Butch's Date Trail. They were rocking and rolling the quarter, 28-2. And it's Brad Kramer and Toy Soldier with the lead. Star Brew goes off stride again. And now on the outside, here comes Field Officer. They spin off the turn and come into the half, and Joe Slick gladly catches that cover. He's second over in fourth. Royal Navy is shifted up, and right with them there in third. Turbo Rabbit right behind the action in fourth. Set for Life off stride in fifth as they pace by the half, 57-4. Around the turn, Mr. Kramer goes to work. It's Toy Soldiers drawn off by two. Royal Navy, he's dreaming of an upset. Right there in second. On the outside, Field Officer is third. And Turbo Rabbit fourth. Joe Slick is locked up in fifth. It's anybody's race with a quarter to go. Toy Soldier with the lead. Can you believe it? Field Officer is coming back. On the outside, 3/4, 126-3. Royal Navy is third. Turbo Rabbit on the outside, fourth. They turn for home. Toy Soldier, Field Officer on the outside. Royal Navy at the rail. They're driving for home. And it's Toy Soldier. He's going to get the job done. Toy Soldier.
What a strong performance by Toy Soldier with Brad Kramer in the bike, holding off the number one horse, Field Officer. Strong performance from Field Officer as well. We were told earlier he needed to get down to the rail in order to win this one. Well, he had a tough trip on the outside. And up for third was the number 8 horse, Royal Navy, with Marty Cooper in the bike. More right after this from the Ottawa County Fair. Last night, the manager of the Ottawa County Fair, Earl Welling, threw a party for everybody. We were there. We had a chance to talk to the track announcer who will be calling the Wolverine Futurity, Scott Diepenhorst.
The greatest race I think that was ever called here was Al Lohman, who passed away this past spring, who was an integral part of the fair here. Had a great pacer by the name of Cedar Ridge. And it was a Saturday afternoon, and he put up $25,000, one race, one heat. And it was a Saturday afternoon. There was 5,000 people in the grandstand. It was packed. And it was unquestionably the greatest race I've ever called. The horse's name was Flubba-Dubba-Doo and was owned by Bob and Carolyn Howard, friends of mine out of Marshall, Michigan. He was a nice, honest pacer. And around the far turn, it's Flubba-Dubba-Doo, trying gamely on the outside, trying to fight him off on the inside is Nightstick. Nightstick has a head in front, but on the outside, here comes Flubba-Dubba-Doo once again on the outside. It's Bud Foster with Flubba-Dubba-Doo, now has a nose as they battle through the stretch. On the inside, it's Nightstick. On the outside, Flubba-Dubba-Doo. Throw a blanket over him, nose for nose, head for head, neck for neck. They're at the wire. It's Flubba-Dubba-Doo, and here they all come.
We're in the winner's circle with the happy owners. John Grozensky, congratulations. Your horse did it. Did you ever think you were going to get here?
Oh, I've had all the confidence in the world of him. He's just the best horse we've ever had. And he just doesn't quit. He just wants to go. Yeah.
What kind of business are you in?
I'm in the scrap metal business.
Scrap metal business, was it ever anything as exciting as this?
No, it pays the bills most of the time, but this gives us all the fun.
And your wife finally got her wooden shoes.
Oh, she's wanted wooden shoes. She doesn't care about money. She doesn't care about blankets. She wanted wooden shoes.
Is this true? A wife that doesn't care about money but cares about wooden shoes, is that right?
That's all we wanted was the wooden shoes.
Now, how did you feel as your horse was coming down the street?
Oh, it was very exciting.
Well, congratulations. You've won the Wolverine Futurity 1998 here at Holland.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Now we're going to take a look at some of the other winners here at Holland. In the 3-year-old colt trot division of the Wolverine Futurity, the winner was On to Rome, a 3-year-old bay gelding by Rompaway Butch, owned by Bob Thomasma of Sturgis, Michigan, trained by Rob and driven to victory by Charles Taylor. On to Rome set a new track record, 1:59.4, the first time the 2-minute barrier had ever been broken by a trotter at Holland. In the 2-year-old filly trot division of the Wolverine Futurity, the winner was Arbor Bell. What a strong performance she put in for trainer-driver Peter Miller. Owners are 2 guys from Ann Arbor in Lathrop Village. This Arbor Bell is by Tabor Lobel out of Arbor Classy. What a great performance for this 2-year-old trotting filly. In the 2-year-old colt pace division of the Wolverine Futurity, the winner was Another Mile. What a strong performance he put in this afternoon. This is the fastest 2-year-old in North America, having won at Balmoral Park in Chicago a week ago in 1:53.1. This afternoon at Holland, he wins in 1:59.2 for Ed Engel and Jennifer Engel of Adrian, Michigan. Al Tomlinson does the training, and Vince Copeland did the driving of Another Mile, 1:59.2. The music has stopped playing. The fans are now leaving the grandstand, and that brings to a close the Wolverine Futurity from the Ottawa County Fair. Next week, we are going to be in the Thumb in Michigan in Bad Axe to bring you more harness racing right here on Michigan Hoof Beats.